on Darrell Brooks. So let's get started with what Darrell Brooks actually did, which was driving his vehicle through a fucking parade in order to escape law enforcement. So let's start off with that.
To you, I'm Liz Chow.
I'm David Navarro. We'll have more on those stories in a moment, but we begin with new details on the deadly tragedy at a Christmas parade in Wisconsin. Police have now identified the driver who slammed into the crowd as 39-year-old Darrell Brooks.
Look, a lot of right-wing people say that this guy is supposed to be like a plant. He's like Illuminati. He's like paid by George Soros to do this shit. I don't know. I feel like if the left had the ability, I mean, I guess they do, but if the left were gonna, like plan some shit, stage some shit, I feel like they would use somebody better than him, right? This motherfucker has neck tattoos and like, look at his fucking dreads. Jesus.
Investigators say Brooks was involved in a domestic...
He got the Coolio dreads. Oh, rest in peace. He doesn't have the cool... He has the crackhead dreads. Sorry, Coolio.
Incident moments before
I'm not allowed to talk about Coolio now that he's dead.
In the crowd.
A horrific act left at least 5 people dead and more than 40 others injured. Among those hurt, 18 children, and 6 of whom are in critical condition.
All right, I kind of wanted to get an idea of what I wanted to give you guys an idea of what this guy did, because I didn't. I mean, I knew of the incident, of course, but I didn't necessarily know the guy by heart. Now we're gonna get to this motherfucker in court. Now again, a lot of the people on the right have been painting this guy as like funded by George Soros to kill white people. Look, he's gonna get away with it. He's not getting away with shit. But yeah, let's get into some of this Waukesha testimony.
I'm not arguing it with you, sir,
I know,
one
I just
bit.
want you to know that I'm not arguing with you either, but I was right in the middle of finishing what I was saying.
So I need to stop you for a minute, Mr. Brooks,
I don't
because
consent to that, Your Honor, because
you don't have to consent,
I
but here we go.
don't
Let
consent or
me,
agree to being cut off right when I'm trying
all right,
to
I'm just
provide
gonna
the
talk
court with
over him for a
information.
minute. I do not have any other information regarding, the COVID-19 protocol, meaning anything specific about you, Mr. Brooks, other than what was put in the inmate communication, which reads, due to just learning I'm on COVID-19 protocol, I respectfully ask for all proceedings to be adjourned at this time, which is why I asked you if there was any other information you wanted to provide me as I consider your request, because the jail has not provided me with any specific information regarding the reason you were placed on protocol, whether you were exposed, whether you are showing symptoms. They cannot provide me with that information absent you giving them permission.
You thought Alex Jones was going ham.
All right, we are back on the record. Appearances are as they were before. I need to make a record that at 8:42 a.m. this court ordered Mr. Brooks be removed from the courtroom due to repeated interruptions and disruption with the court. This, of course, comes on the recent history with Mr. Brooks. On every day that we have been in court since Monday, he has shown a complete and utter disrespect
for everything.
The simple rules of civility.
He drove through a parade. What? Do you think he respects civility? Do you think that's the characteristics of a man that respects being civil in any kind of court? No.
He has been removed from the courtroom multiple times. This morning alone, he started interrupting this court within a minute of the court calling the case. I should also make a record at the moment he is muted because of the way that he was removed from the courtroom and his conduct since. I have been given just a bit of information about it. I will advise everyone that I have required that the Sheriff's Department file a written report with the court regarding Mr. Brooks's conduct. I'm told that he would not sit down while in this courtroom in order to have the shackles removed so that he could be taken to the other courtroom. Is seated with his back to the court or to the camera. He took his shirt off as well. I'm also told that he is threatening to throw and break items. I want to give him headphones since he has claimed in the past to be hard of hearing in one ear, but given his statement that he would throw and break things, unless he can pledge to this court that he will not do that, I'm not going to provide that information. I will advise that the audio in that courtroom should be turned up accordingly so that it is louder than it has been. I've also been advised that the audio and visual equipment is working in that courtroom. The deputies that are in there can see and hear the court through the...
All right. Also, so there was another one where he, this fucking Norm. Okay. This is probably one of the most ignorant shit that I've ever seen. You know how, like, it's, you know how it's, how when you're being prosecuted, if I was being prosecuted for something, it would be, Marco Franco versus, the state of California or whatever. Okay. Keep that in mind. Hey, Grams!
Mr. Brooks, I'm reviewing this for...
I have a 20-day-old baby with Grams. And
you have simply put on here, State of Wisconsin plaintiff, that's an entity. You have to name a person, sir. The date. Well, the date we would fill in. So I'll have it shown to the state, and they can let me know their position on that.
Any legal basis why that would not be accepted, Your Honor?
He's in a suit now.
You have to have a person named, sir, so that they can come and testify. You only have an entity named.
Is it not true that under the Sixth Amendment I have the right to face my accuser?
He thinks, this dumbass thinks that the state of, he thinks he can, he's trying to call the state of Wisconsin to testify. He's like, don't I have the right to face my accuser? They're like, the state of Wisconsin is an entity, sir. It is not a person. He cannot testify.
Mr. Brooks, let me hear from the state. Times during those evaluations, if he was being difficult, that he was nonetheless able to communicate with them. He was...
Let's watch the judge just turn this trial. She just made this trial like a level like 7 in terms of difficulty. She turns that bitch up to like a 99 as soon as he's like, okay, you can represent yourself.
Articulate.
Where is it? Right here.
The charges, the penalties, the exposure that he faces. Ultimately, in the end, a competent defendant has a constitutional right to represent himself, even if the judge or anyone else thinks there may be no good reason for him to do so. I'm not saying you don't have a reason, sir. I'm frankly speaking to your mom at this point. She may not understand. Frankly, her understanding is not material. You have the constitutional right to make this choice. What's important for this court, and why I also went through some of the other biographical information, is you have a high school education. You've completed the 11th grade. You have an HSED. Frankly, statements like, I'm informed or I'm aware, are the functional equivalent of you saying, I understand. I cannot say that this is one of those narrow classes. Mr. Brooks, stop.
Which is my First Amendment right to be able to say what I want.
Mr. Brooks, your rights do not involve interrupting me. That's the,
I objected. I didn't interrupt.
That's the procedure that we will follow. At trial, what's going to happen if you continue to do that is you will be admonished before this court regarding his mental status and his understanding of what is going on.
Wow, you are just getting a fucking taste of the bullshit that you're dealing with. All right, so he's representing himself in court. He's taking off his shirt. He's going ham. I want to see him. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go.
Bring these boxes up. I have not had the time to go through everything in there. As you can see, it's a lot. That's putting it minimal. A lot. So I have not had the time to go through everything that's in there. I'm winging it, Your Honor.
Darrell Brooks
Yes.
admits he's winging it.
Yeah, you're not a
defending
fucking
himself
lawyer.
Against more than 70 counts, including homicide charges, in the Waukesha parade tragedy that killed 6 people and injured 62 others. Sergeant Dave Warner of the Waukesha Police Department was the state's first witness. He was asked to describe what he saw during the parade. He was on duty and he was right there, providing security that day. Brooks repeatedly objected during Warner's testimony.
Did the car continue in your direction, or the SUV?
Yes, it did.
What did you observe the path of travel for the SUV to be?
Objection, that's hearsay.
Mr. Brooks, it's not hearsay. Your objection is overruled. You may answer.
Sure, where did you see the SUV go? Better question.
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled.
Later, Mr. Bro.
The SUV entered the parade route.
I want you to describe what you remember seeing as it passed your location, please.
As I was waving my hands overhead, I was approximately 6 feet in front of me by about 6 feet. I could see the operator of the vehicle and just a dazed, straight, focused look straight ahead, not looking at anyone.
Did the driver appear to respond to your efforts to stop the vehicle?
There was absolutely no response.
Then it came time for Brooks, of course, to cross-examine Officer.
Okay, here we go.
Your question, sir.
In that clip, is it fair to say that you can see that there are people walking in the street and on the sidewalk? Would that be fair to say?
Yes, I could see that in the video clip.
He's like,
Do you see
the cop is
anybody being targeted? Or
the cop is like, why the fuck am I answering? He's like, this is so goddamn ridiculous.
being in a panic to get away from the vehicle?
No.
Do you see the said driver of that vehicle intentionally trying to hit anyone in that video?
No.
So again, I would ask.
Oh, what's up? Tell Tactics, hey.
Brought here today to testify on behalf of the plaintiff.
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained. He already answered that he was, why he's here.
Again, I would ask just one more time for the record. Do you see the plaintiff in court today?
Objection.
Sustained. Do you have any other questions, Mr.
Do
Brooks?
you see the
Do you
plaintiff
know
in
of
court
the
today?
plaintiff at all whatsoever?
Objection.
Sustained.
No further questions.
A friend of Darrell Brooks's ex-girlfriend, Erica Patterson, also took the stand on Thursday. His name is Corey Runkle, and he described his interaction with Patterson in November 2021
It's a rough name. Corey Runkle? All right.
on the day of the parade.
Guess we're doing
What were
that.
you doing with Erica in the park?
Hanging out.
Okay. Was anybody with you?
Yeah. Kyle.
Okay. And you mentioned that you split up with Erica at some point. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you remember why?
To go hang out with Nick.
Do you know Nick's last name?
Kirby?
Okay. And Erica didn't go with you.
No.
Okay. So what happened after you split up with Erica?
Then Erica Patterson took the stand and testified about what happened on the morning of the day of the parade.
I want to direct your attention to the date of November 21st, 2021.
Yes.
Did you know anything about a parade happening in Waukesha that day when you woke up that morning?
I didn't know about the parade.
Okay, what about that afternoon? Did it become apparent to you that something
Yes.
was going on?
Yes.
Did you come into contact with Darrell Brooks on the afternoon of November 21st, 2021?
Yes.
Where did you first come into contact with Mr. Brooks?
At Frame Park.
And how did that come about? What were you doing and why did he get there?
We were messaging and calling each other all day. We were arguing back and forth. He came out there. Well, I told him I was with Miss Corey, and he came out there. I told him where I was. Got in his car. We drove around. And then I forgot the street. We went up that street. It's a hill. It's kind of by the Walgreens. We went up that hill. We drove around. Me and him got into an altercation. He hit me in my eye. I jumped out of the car, walked and found my way back by Frame Park. And then he followed me there. And then I went back in his car. I got out and I had called Corey. Well, I called Corey before that. And she came to meet me. I told her that me and him got into an altercation. So she met up with me, and by the time she got there, she pulled me out the way because his car turned around. He swerved. She pulled me out the way. He got up his car, and they got into an altercation. He pushed her in her face, and I don't remember if she hit him back or anything. That we walked away and walked back to the women's shop.
So I want to commend you for a couple of things. Number one, asking to come back into the courtroom. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. I think it runs much smoother when you are here, assuming you follow all the rules, which you have done a very good job at this afternoon. I also want to commend you on
oh my God, this is like the
cooperating with
level of a
process.
little
Even before
kid.
you were brought over here, you were respectful, but you also made appropriate objections. You asked questions on cross-examination. Despite not wanting to unmask at first, you did do that, and I appreciate that. You asked some cogent, relevant questions, some of which went directly to the credibility of the witness. I would add, you might not always artfully ask the questions, but I think you're making some solid points. I would encourage you to keep prepping, to have questions written out based on the materials that you have. I really appreciate that you came back over and that you've been following the rules.
What the fuck is justice? Like I'm being like 100% now. Like this motherfucker is guilty, right? Like they pulled his ass out of the car that was still inside of the fucking middle of the parade. Like how? All right, whatever.
I also want to encourage you, sir, to, if you choose, to wear your suit or other street clothes. It is your choice. I will let you make that choice.
Understood my question. If you were driving the vehicle, would it be fair to say that the only time anyone would see brake lights would be if you hit the brake?
If the driver hit the brakes, the brake lights would go on the vehicle.
So it would be fair to say that the only way that you would see brake lights would be if the driver of the vehicle hit the brakes.
That would be correct.
And you said you went into a building called the Nice Ash after that moment?
That was correct.
Do you recall about how long you were in the Nice Ash?
Hour and a half maybe. I would pop in and out because I was trying to wrap up the float and get us out of there. And then once I was told that I cannot touch my vehicle nor the float anymore because the area was deemed a crime scene, we went back in and made a plan on how we were going to get all of us home and then proceeded to leave. But businesses, I believe, were locked down so no one could get in and out. They were locking their doors. Every time I went out, they would ask me, knock on the door, because we're locking it.
Do you recall about what time it was at that moment?
No. These are thoughts that you don't think about when you've been through something like this. I didn't sit there and note down times. I'm not trained in this.
Do you recall if it was still daytime or nighttime?
The parade started around 4:30, so it gets, and it was cloudy, so it was dusk. I mean, city lights were on. Emergencies vehicles, when they were pulling up, you saw the sirens, on the streets. You saw it was dusk. It was getting dark.
Would it be fair to say from the Exhibit 46 video that you were shown that it was pretty clear?
Again, wasn't focusing on the sky.
Do you agree or disagree? The video that you saw was clear. That was the question.
The video, the clarity of the video, or the skies? Please clarify
that it was pretty much still daytime. You can see everything pretty clear. Everything was.
You can see, yes, it was clear. It was dusk. Lights were coming on.
Okay, what the fuck are we talking about? What time of day it was? Oh man, yeah, I want to see him cross-examine this.
The vehicle was 30 feet away. It was just on the other side of the vehicle, the large suburban vehicle.
So how could you come to the determination of the speed?
Because it was barreling right at us. So as it came around the vehicle, started coming towards us, it felt like 25 to 30 miles per hour, and then as it veered off, no brake lights, just veered off and continued right down Main Street at that rate of speed.
So it felt like that was the speed. Is the term you just used again, felt. It felt like it was going that speed.
So I'm using the term felt, and I am defining that as sort of a mental recollection or a gut feel. I'm not trained in assessing speed, so my gut feel, what I felt at that time, driving that street numerous times, is that it was going 25 to 30 miles per hour.
So would it be fair to say, based on what you just said, that you're not trained in speed analyzation, that would it be fair to say that you don't know exactly the speed of the vehicle? Grounds. That's based on what he said.
Hold on, you asked multiple questions, so I'm going off of the very last question that you asked. And that is, would it be fair to say that you don't know the speed of the vehicle? To that question, the objection is overruled and the witness may answer.
Yes, without looking at a speedometer, I would have no way of knowing exactly how fast that vehicle was going.
Did you notice any damage to the vehicle at that point that it passed you? Do you recall if you may have seen anyone else present in the vehicle?
I don't recall.
Did you ever make any statements to law enforcement after the incident at any time?
My wife and I both shared information on behalf of the crash report and our findings, or our initial statement.
You recall if that was the same night of the incident or in the following days after?
That was the following days.
Have you or your wife filed any claims in this matter?
Which claim? Define claims.
Insurance claims.
Referring to being an injured party or anything of that nature?
We submitted a claim with the DA's office, I believe, for potential medical.
Yep, check out the.
So that would be in regards to the medical bills?
For my daughter, correct.
So would it be fair to say that you have a financial interest in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Would you consider yourself to be an injured party in this matter?
Me personally, no. Not physically.
So you weren't injured in any way in this?
Not physically injured, no.
Sorry?
I don't recall.
Do you recall if your interview was written down as a summary or if it was recorded?
I think he did both.
Did you file any claims related to this matter?
No.
He's getting fucking help in the pen. This motherfucker has an OG or a motherfucker that's good with law. That's the notes that he's reading. Somebody went over that case and fucking was like, all right, so here's what you're going to do if you're going to represent yourself. Here's what you need to ask this person. Here's what you need to ask this person. Here's what you need to ask this person. He's not arguing this case. He's got an OG that's arguing this case for him. Am I right or am I right, Grams? Am I right or am I right? We know this is a dumb motherfucker. We know this, okay? But now all of a sudden he's coming through with like lawyer tactics? Like, bruh, there's a motherfucker in court or in the pen that's helping his ass. That is a fact. I'll put all my fucking wax on the line for that. That is a fucking fact. That is a goddamn fact. He has some old motherfucker that he's paying in ramen or fucking Twinkies or whatever, and he's just like writing out specifically what he should ask. Watch, because look, he's going to look down, read, even before he's reading.
Summary.
He's like, I gotta ask, what? Like, you
Do
see?
you recall if you're in?
You see, he's fucking literally like, God damn, dude. That's why. Okay.
Interview was written down as a summary or if it was recorded.
Interesting.
I think he did both.
Did you file any claims related to this matter?
No.
Ever read or saw a complaint in this matter?
No.
Grounds?
Sustained. I presume, though, no objection from anyone to at least finishing up with Mr. Knapp. It appeared to me we were close to being done, including whether he's fine with that as well. And he's shaking.
All right, I'm fucking. Well, we know what's going on. He's got himself a prison lawyer.